everyone. I'm Darian Gold, and welcome to All Things Pilates Season 6. As we dig deeper into the life of a contrologist, this season's guest list shares what the Pilates methodology can offer to anyone who desires health and wellness. On this show, we'll explore, seek, and investigate what's possible when we incorporate Contrology into our lives. Ever feel like your body just needs a pair of experienced hands to massage your muscles and soften all that tight fascia you carry around? Allison Denney, a massage therapist, is here to share her thoughts about the importance of massage to help keep our muscles malleable and supple so we can keep practicing Contrology with confidence. Hello, Allison. Welcome to All Things Pilates.
Hi, Darian. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Allison, straight up, why is massage so valuable for us?
That's a great question. I think the most common answer is an answer that I genuinely love, which is massage therapy is a lot like getting your oil changed in your car. It keeps things fluid, it keeps things supple, it keeps you aware of your body, and it's a great way to drop in and kind of gauge where things are tight, weak, loose, tense, asymmetrical, symmetrical, whatever it is that you're looking to do. It's a great way to gain body self-awareness and get things kind of, keep things healthy, keep things fluid.
For those who don't get massages or don't really understand massages, when you say drop in, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so I definitely feel really strongly about the fact that when I'm working as a therapist, I ask my clients to be present in the moment with the work that I'm doing. So while I'm working on a particular muscle or a particular region of tension, I ask them to be really into their body and feel what it is. So they gain a bigger awareness, a greater awareness of what their anatomy is, what it does, what it might be doing in this moment that is dysfunctional, and how to help it to become more functional. So dropping in, kind of like going more internal, dropping down away from your thoughts that may be distracting you from your body, and having that ability to feel what your muscles and your connective tissue and all of these structures inside are doing and feeling.
Do you talk about the breath to help to drop in?
Of course. Breath is such a great tool for so many reasons. I'm sure as a Pilates instructor, it's such a great way to kind of bring that energy from outward to inward. So yeah, I especially love it when I'm doing work around the rib cage, and that involves like the neck, the shoulders, the back, all of it. But even if I'm down in the feet or in the lower legs, having your client take a nice deep breath in, and then like feel what that feels like, exhale all the way out, and then kind of bring their thoughts to where I'm working. Like that there's something about breath and all the components of the nervous system that are combined with breath that allow that inner awareness just like more powerfully.
And that's a neuromuscular mindset.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to describe it. I think there's a lot of ways that people have talked about that component of who we are through the eons that we've been on this planet. And yeah, more modern terms, and in the field that I am in very specifically, it would be considered more neuromuscular. But, consciousness, awareness, philosophical, spiritual, however you want to talk about it, I definitely feel like defining it as scientific as I can helps me understand it more deeply. But, it's all good. It's all the same thing.
Would you say most people that come to you in general are tight around the thoracic spine or rib cage, and then right away they need to work on their breathing?
Yeah, I think that's true of pretty much our entire society. I think it's very societal and very human nature to be
not breathe.
Caught up. Yeah, to not breathe, to be caught up in thoughts and to be caught up in worry or, a to-do list, and we forget to breathe. So hands down, I think that that dropping into breath works for 99% of the people that exist. So, I mean, it's always a good component, but yes, I think there is very commonly a lot of tension around the rib cage, a lot of tension around the neck and the shoulders, the abdomen. It just is there.
Yes. Would you consider massage therapy an umbrella for other types of body work?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. There are so many ways to talk about body work, and there's a lot of conversation within the massage therapy community that is like defining the words that we should use. And I think massage therapy is a huge umbrella term for a lot of different modalities, but there's so much hands-on body work out there that is not massage therapy, but incorporates massage therapy. I mean, physical therapy is a prime example, occupational therapy, chiropractic. I mean, all of those hands-on practitioners, the work is about navigating soft tissue. And you kind of can't navigate soft tissue without massaging it to some degree. I mean, even within Pilates, yoga, and those kinds of practices as well, you're really like stretching and moving and thinking about elasticity and elongation and contraction, and those are all things that kind of come under the scope of massage therapy as well. But there's all these different ways to kind of meet it and work on it and define yourself as a certain kind of practitioner. But yes, it's a big term for sure.
It might even be the foundation.
Yeah, I mean,
about.
Yeah. If you look back through the years, like at the beginning of the way that humans discovered pain and managed pain, it all stems from
Touching.
It all stems from tuina, which is like this. The words tuina actually mean push and pull, and so that's like we push something and we pull something, and that's like the basis of so much of what we all do every day, just to kind of help ease pain or help figure out what's going on. And it is definitely like, it's kind of like if you look at an animal, they want to just lick themselves, or, they'd love getting pet. It's just so innate in who we are. It's what we do.
Push pulls, we can relate to that as Pilates instructors and practitioners for sure. I'm assuming you have teachers and students come to you?
Yes, for sure. In what capacity? Lots of different capacities, but are you asking about?
Yes. Pilates instructors and or students come to you as a patient or client because they're jacked up somewhere in their body. They're not working efficiently, not using their breath.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It's clients in general. I mean, lots of students, lots of teachers, lots of anybody who's looking for body work in general. When they come to me, it's definitely looking for specific, again, it's defining the different kind of methods, but rehabilitative, orthopedic, neuromuscular work. But it boils down to this push-pull. It boils down to this idea of knowing where the tension is, what that tension means, who this client is, if pushing and softening is a better technique, if pulling and creating depth is a better technique. I mean, I think it's all kind of like sitting in with the client in the moment, knowing who they are and knowing what their tissues need. That can take a long time. That can take multiple sessions to figure out who this person is and what's really going on. But, we don't really know each other until we like hang out for a long time, any relationship. So it's kind of the same within the therapeutic realm.
And it's not like Pilates teachers specifically present differently.
Right. Well, yes. I mean, I actually love working with Pilates teachers. I love working with Pilates teachers and yoga instructors.
Curious.
Yeah. I mean, just they're really dropped in. Like that whole idea. It's almost like there's this whole first boundary that I don't have to work through. It's like I can just be. I mean, I have a client that I've been seeing for years, and she is a Pilates instructor, and we have so much fun when I have a session with her because we talk shop, basically. I mean, she's super dropped in. She's super aware. And when something is going on, she's like, I want to explore this and I want to know more and I want to understand it. And I want this knowledge for not only myself, but also for my clients. And we want to understand the physical human body on a level that is like really fun to be around other people who are like-minded. So working with this particular client, working with anybody who's a Pilates instructor, a yoga instructor, anything within this field, there's just this automatic like, oh yes, you know what I'm talking about. You know what a deep breath really is. Yeah.
On the same page, do they ask you about insertion, origin, action?
Sometimes, I mean, it's fun to talk about it. It's fun to talk about somebody who knows what those terms are. I mean, it's kind of
And then do you facilitate, let's say, some kind of movement, and then you're explaining?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, it's really common. I mean, there's a lot of muscles that most people really know, and a lot of little muscles that a lot of people don't know about. And working anywhere in the body, you're never isolating one muscle, ever, ever, ever. So there's a lot of fun with the conversations of working in a little region, like right, in the where the neck meets the shoulder, or where the scapula, anywhere around the scapula, basically. But it's really fun to kind of sink in somewhere and go, okay, I'm going to isolate the teres major. And now I'm going to isolate the teres minor. And these are very different actions, and you can feel them. They're like millimeters apart, but you can feel them, and you can feel how one might be triggering a pain response or how one might be more relieving. And then like once that one opens up, that isolated awareness in the body is like, you can all of a sudden, you don't just know a muscle from a book, you know it from what it feels like. And that's a whole different world.
That's fabulous.
Yes, it's the best.
Well, what are your thoughts about those of us in the healing arts and financial security? Because obviously money is a factor. We have to pay our bills. How do you stay true to your craft and be okay going after financial security? There's nothing wrong with making a lot of money, especially if you do a lot of good with it.
That is the $1 million question, and like pun intended. But it really is. I mean, I definitely think that the people who enter the field that we are in, as anybody who wants to help other people, we are givers. We want to give. And when we want to give, we have it inside of ourselves somewhere very deeply embedded that it's not good to receive. And we learn about receiving, and we can receive body work, and we can receive friendship and kindness, but receiving money feels somehow attached to a negative connotation. And I think that is the crux of why it's harder for healthcare practitioners, wholeness practitioners, to be okay with charging what they're worth and having boundaries around their own, like a schedule that feels like it honors their sanity, as opposed to the client that calls and is like, I know this is last minute, it's 9:00 at night, but please, will you work on me? And you're like, yeah, of course I will, because I want to.
What do you say?
You don't say that. It's the go-to response that we want to give and give and give. But when we do that, we break ourselves down. And so I think the relationship to money is less about, it's about defining what money is as a more positive thing in our lives. And I tend to look at money as energy. And if we look at money like it's energy, then when we have an exchange, it feels more fair and it feels more valuable, as opposed to wanting so much to help that you will overgive and deplete your own energy. So,
willing to put yourself on the back burner, as they say.
Exactly. I mean, I definitely feel like I want so much for our industry to elevate to the point where it's okay to charge what we are worth and not feel like, I don't know, guilty about it or bad about it or whatever it is. I definitely think we contribute a lot to the people around us and our communities. And I think that is a very valuable thing. And I think if we see money as energy, that energy is worth protecting.
That's good. That's a good way to look at it, because it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of like, I think there's lots of like calling something into your existence and into your world is, I don't know, whether or not you believe it is up to you, but there are, if you don't believe that you're worth it somewhere deep, 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 deep down inside of you, then
Nobody
you're
will.
not going to be. Nobody will. And if you believe that you're worth it deep, deep, deep inside, that it will happen. You will believe it, and therefore you will dictate things that feel better and honor you, and it will come to fruition.
Okay, that's beautiful. I hope everybody is taking that to heart. And then speaking of those who maybe haven't taken it to heart yet, and they don't have extra funds, I'm thinking about Pilates folks who can't necessarily afford a massage, or maybe they don't even have time. Do you have any tips that you could share for those folks?
Yes. Yes. I mean, of course, self massage is like a beautiful, amazing thing. I actually do it every day. I think there's lots of things that we can do to help our bodies stay supple and fluid and healthy. And as you know, stretching is one of them. I am a huge fan of friction. It's a very simple technique that I use literally every day on myself, especially as I get older and I feel like my tissues are a little kind of getting stiffer. But, I can just take my hands, my palms on either side of my knee, and I can just create a lot of friction around my knee. And my knees quite literally feel better after a minute of friction.
Hey, everyone. Want to level up your teaser? When I'm not interviewing or editing, I'm helping students just like you get to the next level. If you'd like to understand the Contrology technique, come learn from me, whether online or in person. Just know I'm here and happy to help. Now, back to the interview.
And that's
what is happening?
Your knees have a lot more connective tissue as opposed to muscle tissue. Like the thighs are more muscle tissue with the quads and the hamstrings, but the knees and the ankles are a lot more connective tissue. There's a lot more tendons and ligaments and fascia and the joint capsule. And connective tissue gets stuck. And whether or not we can change fascia is a massive debate. And I don't necessarily even think that that's what is happening. I just know that friction creates heat. Heat creates a greater energy within the molecules. And when the molecules are moving faster, there's just more fluidity. You get a lot more, things get unstuck and things can slide easier. And so, stiff joints are commonly, there's a lot of things happening, but one of the things that's happening is all this connective tissue is starting to bind. And when we apply a little friction, it can just help ease that bound tissue and create some space for the muscles to be able to move a little bit better and keep our bodies healthy and fluid, which is the whole goal.
And you can use the friction with, let's say, the thighs that you were saying. It just doesn't have to be in the joints. You can use the same technique.
Definitely not. Yes. I mean, yes, absolutely 100%. Thighs, calves, shoulders, forearms.
So hands
neck.
are flat and on each side of it.
Well, you can do it with you can do it with flat knuckles too. You could just want to create like a broad surface and start to kind of move over the skin so it feels warm. But yes, broad hands are great because it's just a big tactile point of connection. It's just a matter of moving fast as opposed to sinking in. I mean, I'm a huge fan of sinking in as well. I'm a huge fan of trigger point therapy. I'm a huge fan of compression. I love all of it. But, I happen to be like in this mode of friction these days and I love it. So I do it with myself.
Because it's helping you. It's helping you.
It's helping. Yeah, it feels really good. I do it on my sacrum, on my low back a lot. There's a lot of connective tissue there as well.
How would you do that? Do you stand? Are you on your back?
I reach around to my back and I just kind of create a little friction. I don't know. Yeah.
Would it be the same if you had a heating pad, or it's the movement?
It's not the same. Yeah. I mean, the heating pad is wonderful, but it's not the same. I mean, I just believe in human touch ultimately. And I think the friction and the self-care becomes, I don't know, the body can feel it. Body can feel it.
Now, I discovered you on YouTube. Aren't we lucky to have YouTube?
We are so lucky to have YouTube.
How long have you been on YouTube?
I just celebrated 8 years on YouTube.
And the name of your channel is?
Rebel Massage.
And how did that name come to be?
Are you?
Yes,
yes. I mean, quite literally, feel like I've had a rebellious streak in me since the day I was born, but not rebellious in like, I want to overthrow the government, like rebellious in the idea of I wanted to figure out me and I didn't want to live under anybody else's shadow. I don't want to be somebody else. I want to be me. And I think if you look up the definition of rebel under Urban Dictionary, which is, you know, like kind of a little bit more modern and a little different take on definitions, it's about defining your own voice. And so for me, I wanted something that felt, I just wanted to put out there content that felt like it was something that I would watch. And so I kind of thought, you know, if I want to watch it, there's probably somebody else out there that also wants to watch it. And if that works, great. If not, oh well, I tried. But I tried it and it worked and it's growing and it's, you know, been a great.
Well, did you just jump in?
Yep,
or did you have a full-on plan?
I just dove in, like literally shooting from the hip. I mean, so quite literally, or what happened was I was teaching at the time and I had students. This is like the beginning of smartphones, and I had students who were filming my demos in class. And a few of them said to me, you know, if you film your own techniques and upload them to YouTube, we would watch them. And I was like, that would be a great way for them to study and like practice at home, and they wouldn't have to worry about holding a phone while I'm demoing in class. And so I did that, and it just kind of started to grow. And then I started to kind of figure out different things about what I wanted to do differently and better and improving. And then it just grew and grew. And then I was like, you know, I actually think I have a product in my head that I could develop. And then that happened. And then it just has snowballed. It's been amazing.
How many subscribers do you have?
On YouTube, I think about 320,000, I think. Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's a lot of people.
Now, I'm sure that your followers, some of them leave comments.
Yes.
Any comment that made you go, huh, I don't think I know the answer to that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of those. There's a lot of comments that, I mean, I have to say that most of the comments are unbelievably kind and beautiful, and I feel so grateful for that.
You have the other kind also?
Yeah. Every once in a while. But I mean, you know, I also know that, I don't know, when somebody hurt people. So when somebody wants to hurt me or anybody else, it's more about them. So it's all good. But I definitely get some comments that I can't answer in a message. I get a lot of comments that are kind of like, well, what would you do if you know, had this particular very specific injury on this particular very specific person, and you had like, there was, you know, there's all these things, and I'm kind of like, I have to be
Hire
that
me.
Therapist. Yeah. I mean, that's too much to answer in a message.
That's a great recording that you could do. What would you do in this situation? Have you ever done that?
Well, there's actually a woman who, it's a little bit different.
On what would you do?
Well, it's called, her name is Ruth Werner, and she has a podcast called I Have a Client Who, and she's a pathology. She like knows everything about pathologies. So her focus is quite literally like, I have a client who has this very specific pathology. But yeah, I mean, I think having kind of like different dysfunctions show up and having that be a cool topic of conversation over a series of videos would be an awesome idea. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And you have products that you sell.
I do.
Tell us about that.
I will happily. Thank you. So like I mentioned earlier, I was starting to create these videos, and I was working, and I wasn't liking what I was using in the videos. And I was getting people asking me on the videos, like, what products do you use? What do you recommend? And I was like, nothing that I have. And then I really knew what I wanted, and I created a product that allows you to grip the tissues under the skin. So it's basically a body butter, but there's a couple different formulations that I make, but they're basically a body butter that slows down your work and allows you to really grip the tissues under the skin. So what I was finding was that lotion absorbed into the skin too fast, and oil was really slick and I couldn't like grip. If I wanted to grab a muscle and do something with it, I couldn't grab it. And so I created this product that I fell in love with. And then I kind of was like, well, if I love it, kind of like the videos, maybe somebody else will like it. And
But wait a second. Wait a second.
Yeah.
So when you say you created this product, did you have to go to a company that had the different ingredients, or you just...
I literally created it in my kitchen. So I just bought, looked up a lot of different recipes. I played around with them for about a year, and I just kind of like kept adding this
and using them on your clients.
Using them on my clients and kind of feeling it out. And I just was all of a sudden kind of like the more I got to a product that I wanted, the more I was like, I really love this and I would never use anything else. And so I introduced it to the public, and then it's kind of exploded.
What's the name?
It's Rebel Massage Deep Tissue Body Butter. And so I have a bunch of different products. All the products that I have
started in your kitchen.
Started in my kitchen, and they all have different names that are geared towards, like, for instance, one of my butters is called Sore Loser, and it has the ingredients in there, the essential oils and the plant extracts that are in there are geared towards sore muscles. And then I have one called Inflammation Highway, and all of the oils and extracts are geared towards inflammation. And then I have one that's Game of Bones, and that's geared towards joint health and arthritis. And then one that's called Ruth Butter Ginsburg, and that's geared towards women's issues. So,
how many products do you have?
I have 12 scents that come in 2 different formulations. All 12 of them come in 2 different formulations. One has a little more grip and one has a little more glide. And then I have like 3 seasonal butters. So, and then I also have a pain salve.
Oh, say more about that.
It's like a Tiger Balm kind of, again, formulated in my kitchen. And my version of a pain salve just it's really like, I literally have it's called the panic button.
Oh, that's great.
You hit it when there's a panic. But I literally have a tin of panic button kind of in every room of my house. I carry one in my purse. Like, I'm always kind of like, my thumb hurts or my neck hurts, and I use it on myself all the time.
Are you offering these products that nobody else is?
The body butter is for sure very unique. There's not a lot of that out there for the massage and body work field. The pain salve is more, there's a lot of different pain salves out there. I just like mine. So, and I think that I feel like there's a lot of people who trust my products because I formulated my products to be preservative free and chemical free, and they're, animal test cruelty free. Like, they are.
No one got into your kitchen with you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like a very trustworthy product. They're very simple, very organic, very basic, and don't cause...
And you only sell on your channel?
I only sell them on my website, yep.
Uh-huh. And your website is
rebelmassage.com.
That's fabulous. I have to ask you.
Thank you.
Someone listening, I'm sure, thinking, God, I want to have my own YouTube channel. How do I even go about it? Do you have any advice as to... I know you just jumped in. Do you just jump in?
Yeah, I mean, you do. Because I think it's a lot like having a kid. If you think about it too much, you'll never have one. Or getting married or buying a house or whatever. I mean, there's just big not totally. I can't really say that across the board. You do have to think about stuff. But I think that we tend to overthink things. And when we overthink things, we get very anxious about it and nervous about it. And then we don't kind of follow through. So I'm speaking to that part of myself and that population. I feel like there's a lot of people who will have a lot more reasons to not do something than to do something. But I do think that if you are like a go-getter and you want to start a YouTube channel, I think, make sure you have a really good camera. Make sure you have a computer that you can do a lot, that has a lot of capacity in it. Make sure you get a good editing software system. Make sure you have a good microphone. I really think about your shots. Like, if you think about, I wasn't always good at this, but There are, lots of moments that I will go back and look at a feed and I'll be like, oh, there's my cat in the corner of the video, or I, had a blanket out of place or something. So,
what would be the initial investment, do you think, with all those products you just cited?
well, if you have none of those, I mean, a computer is going to be a couple $1,000s. A camera, you can get a good one for about $500. A microphone, you can get a good one for about $100. I mean, give or take, depending on your quality. Editing software, you can use, if you get a Mac that comes with editing software that's very basic and easy to use. If you want to up that, that becomes like, I don't know, it's like $30 a month, depending on what you want to use. So, it's a good investment, but it's small in the big picture. Like in terms of investments, it's a smaller investment. And then the ROI, what does that stand for again? The return on investment is massive because for me, what being on YouTube has given me has come back like a millionfold. I mean, again, going back to the conversation about money, but not just in terms of money, like it's been amazing for me in my business, but also just community and outreach and being able to have a platform and being able to talk to people all over the country who do what we do. I mean, the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you never would have happened if I didn't do this. And this is so fun for me.
Yes. What would your advice be? Well, speaking about teachers and making time for themselves, what would your advice be? They give so much at the end of the day, they have nothing left for themselves. Do they pick up some body butter and go to town?
Yes. I mean, of course, get a panic button, keep it by your side, get some body butter and do some work on yourself for sure. But also don't overextend. I mean, I know that's really a lot easier to say than it is to do, but I was there. I mean, I full on did that. Just to give you a little more insight and a little more vulnerability, I was a single mom of 2 kids, and I was struggling as a private practice massage therapist. I was teaching on the side. I was making videos on the side. I was, trying to create this product. I was overextending myself. And I think you can do that if you've got a goal, but if you're doing that, then keep your eye on the goal and let that be your motivation and let that fill your soul and let that fill your body. But the second you are burnt and you hate what you're doing, then it's not worth it anymore. So figuring out what your goal is and staying passionate about that is a big element to getting through anything that is going to be hard and trying and demanding. But then once you start getting that energy back, then you really need to take care of yourself because it's too easy to overextend.
And we're just one person.
We're just one person. We are just one person.
If someone wants to talk to you right now, what's the best way?
Send me send me an email on my website. Go to my website and go to the contact page and just drop me an email. I respond to every single email I get. So
all 300,000 plus.
Yep. I try. I do my best. Every once in a while I miss one and I feel so bad. But
so it's rebelmassage.com. Excellent. Thank you so much, Allison, for your time today. I think you've probably inspired a lot of people out there.
Oh, I hope so. I continue to be inspired. So I feel lucky when I can be out there in the world and hopefully touch somebody's life. But thank you so much for having me on here today.
Yes. And just keep doing what you're doing.
Will do.
All Things Pilates is produced, written, edited, and hosted by me, Darian Gold. Mastered audio mix, Fabian Romero. Original music, a.k.a. Johnny. And we'd love for you to leave us a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. That way you let all of us know what you like about All Things Pilates. Also, if you're interested in helping to support this podcast, become a subscriber. It helps to cover all the back-end costs that accrue when producing a show. To learn more about how you can be part of our growing community, check out our show notes. When you reach for the stars, you are reaching for the farthest thing out there. When you reach deep into yourself, it is the same thing, but in the opposite direction. If you reach in both directions, you will have spanned the universe. Vera Nazarian.